today we are going to be reading spooky books. So to start off, it's September. It's mid-September. I don't even know what today is. Let's see. September 17th when I'm filming this. It is full-blown fall for me, so I thought for this week it would be fun to sit down and have an entire week filled with just fall books. So when I think of fall, I think of a couple different genres and types of books. Thrillers, scary books, like slash horror books. Although I've never read like a true horror book, but that's what I want to read. And I think I'm probably gonna do a whole nother book dedicated to reading scary books or maybe Stephen King books because I love his movies, but I haven't ever actually sat down and read one of his books. Also, I feel like fantasies. I know some people read fantasy all the time. I'm not a huge fantasy reader, at least not right at this moment I'm not, and so I don't typically read fantasies, but if I'm going to read one, it'll probably be in the fall or the winter. Alright, so I have 5 books here that I'm going to put on my TBR for this week and for this video. A disclaimer, I am a slow reader, so I'm probably most likely not going to finish all 5 of these books this week. It's more so I have options. I'm a huge mood reader, so if I'm not in the mood for it, it's going to be nearly impossible for me to pick up a book. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a quick rapid fire haul of the 5 books that I chose for this video. The Last Unicorn, Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant, Fatal Fudge Swirl, the Grammar Academy Parent-Teacher Association. Lastly, the Library at Hellbore. So we're going to start this one. I'm like 2 chapters into this book, and so I'm barely into it. I can't really give any thoughts yet. So this is kind of an outlier from all the other ones. The other ones are very kind of like Halloween-y almost, but this one is just more fantasy. So the reason that I picked this one up is because I watched The Last Unicorn, the animated movie, as a child. It's such a strange movie. It's just strange. I don't know how else to explain it. I rewatched it a couple years ago as an adult for the first time, and I was just like, what was I watching? I was book shopping a little bit ago, and I stumbled across this one in the bookstore, and I had no idea that the movie was based on a book. I decided to grab it, but it's kind of just been sitting there for a bit, and I've been in a bit of a reading slump, so I haven't really read any books recently, but I feel like it's the perfect time because it's very fantastical. It's about a unicorn. She lives in a magical forest, and she overhears some hunters talking about how there are no more unicorns. She is the last one. They're all extinct. Unicorns live in solitude, and so when she heard this, she was really surprised. So she decides to go on this journey to see if she's truly the last unicorn and to see and try and find, the rest of the unicorns. But I'm going to go ahead and start reading it, and I'll give you guys updates along the way and my thoughts. Let me know if you guys have watched the movie and if you also agree with how strange it was.
It's
Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow.
Guys, this is so good. Hold on, let me highlight this and then I'm gonna read you like a little snippet. It doesn't spoil anything.
It's turning into gold.
Alright guys, I'm gonna read you just a little snippet of this because, I don't know, I just feel like it rings true for a lot of things. So it says, "It's a rare man who is taken for what he truly is. There is much misjudgment in the world. Now I knew you for a unicorn when I first saw you, and I know that you are my friend. Yet you take me for a clown, or a clod, or a betrayer, and so I must be if you see me so. The magic on you is only magic and will vanish as soon as you are free, but the enchantment of your air you put on me I must wear forever in your eyes. We are not always what we seem, and hardly ever what we dream." That is so good. I don't know, I just feel like it puts so beautifully, like it may be talking in the context of the unicorn thinking he's not a friend or that he's some clown or phony magician. But like when you're thinking about it in real world, it's like what people see you as or who they deem you are is who you are in their eyes, right? Like that may not be, most of the time it's not who you actually are, what type of person you actually are, but it's who you will always be to them. And that's just, I don't know, I just feel like it was so beautifully said in the context of this, but really applies to, every day, everyone, and just people judging people before you really get to know them. Wow. I don't know. I just had to share that with you. That touched my heart. Alright, I'm gonna keep on reading.
When the autumn
So I'm in the car and it's the next day. I'm gonna be completely honest, I really did not read that much yesterday. I got distracted and then I ended up just editing for the rest of the day. So really I made no progress on the book, like hardly any. But the plan for today is to focus on reading. We're about to head to Starbucks. We're gonna go ahead and get going and hope I direct myself to the correct Starbucks. I'll see you there. With living just to die.
I think it's strange.
I did finish The Last Unicorn. I'm going to give you guys a really quick review and all my thoughts. I went ahead and gave it 5 stars. I was kind of teetering between 4.75 and 5 stars. I try to give my 5-star ratings out pretty sparingly, but I really do think this is one that, it's going to have like a lasting impact on me. I'm going to continue to think about it, and I just really enjoyed the writing style. It felt like I was reading almost a child's fairy tale story, but it had so much deeper meaning. If you're actually paying attention to what you're reading and the characters and what they stand for or what they personify, it just goes so much deeper than just a story about a unicorn. And after thinking about it and talking about it a little bit, it has been a couple days since I last updated you, so I did go ahead and start my next read, which is Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant. I was choosing between the 2 more Halloween-y ones, and I thought this one just sounded more interesting, so I did go ahead and grab that. We actually went out to Rocky Mountain National Park yesterday, and I did end up taking that book with me.
In your heart. I don't wanna stop, and I don't wanna stop. Part-time love, how we suffer now.
I finally finished the book. I realized that I never told you guys what this is actually about. It takes place in a small town. The main character in the book owns an old lighthouse that she has restored and made into a bakery, but the lighthouse is haunted. She has a resident ghost, and since it's getting closer to Halloween, the entire town is kind of obsessed with her haunted lighthouse. They want to prove whether it's haunted or not, and so she agrees to host a podcast and these kind of Ghostbuster type guys at her place. The plan is just for them to live stream on Halloween night and prove whether or not the lighthouse is actually haunted. So when the plans go awry and a real dead body is found, it sets the stage for her and her best friend and boyfriend to be amateur sleuths and try to figure out who done it. I ended up giving this book a 3.75 stars. It was a very close between a 3.75 and a 4 star. The only thing that made me dock it from a 4 star down to a 3.75 is because I felt like some parts of the story were just repetitive. The author would say the same thing a couple times throughout the story as if it was new knowledge, but it really wasn't. She'd already told us this. So that's the only thing that kind of annoyed me about the book. Otherwise, it was a perfect murder mystery. Very cozy vibes, very Halloween, fall. I enjoyed it. The characters were good. The story was good. The author did do a really good job writing the build up and the tension, especially right towards the end, right before they're about to solve the murder. I didn't guess who it was, but that's not saying much considering that I'm really bad at guessing things, but that makes it so much more fun for me because then I always get surprised whenever there's a plot twist or whenever they find out who it is. So I have 3 more books left over on my physical TPR for this video. I decided that my next read is going to be The Library and Hellbore. Alright, so this one is about a school for monsters, essentially. It's the Technical Institute for the Gifted and the Dangerously Powerful. Antichrist, Death Workers, World Eaters, and Apocalypse Makers. It's kind of giving dark academia vibes. The school is supposed to be a safe haven for monsters or things in that type of realm. When they graduate, they're promised a normal life, but after graduation, the faculty locks them in the library and is attempting to feast on them. This is very different from what I typically read, and it's obviously quite different from the book I just finished, so I'm really excited to dive into it. I know a ton of people aren't a fan of just solid colored sprayed edges, but I do feel like it fits this book really well because it's got that beautiful cover and then the sprayed edges kind of match along with it. This book is just under 300 pages, so I'm anticipating it to be a fast read for me. We'll see. Hopefully I can finish it today or tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get started. literally only like 2 pages into this book and I can already tell I really enjoy the writing, so this is probably gonna be a good book. I'm excited. We'll see where the story goes. It definitely had a good hook right at the beginning of the book though. So it's been a couple days and I did end up finishing the Library Helpboard, so I'm going to give you guys my review for that. Over the weekend, I went on a little road trip to the Grand Tetons. I did bring my Kobo with me and I finished a book on there as well. I'm also going to give you guys a review on that, but let's start with the Library Helpboard. It was a super fast read. I probably read it in 2 days, but honestly really in just 2 sittings. I have very mixed opinions on this. I think I did end up rating it a 2.75 star. It was addicting and very easy to sit there and just read and want to binge. It did keep me captivated. My issues though with it were, one, the writing style wasn't for me. Funnily enough, when I started reading this, I was like, oh, I love this reading style. But then as I got more into it, it felt like she was using a thesaurus too much. Like every other, see, if you're looking at these tabs, all those pink tabs are words I tabbed because I didn't know what they were. And then I had to look them up. So it was just very, very wordy. I love witty writing. I'm all for using big words and having a few, I like, oh, I didn't know that. I want to learn something new. But like when it's at this level, it was just a bit much. So there's that. And then for the storyline, I feel like a lot happened, but then nothing really happened. It's kind of hard to say. Honestly, this was more of a horror book than it was a fantasy book. This is the first time I've read a book that actually made my skin crawl. Some of the descriptions were very graphic, gross, I don't know. But like it's good, like good going into it knowing it's a horror book, it would be good. But I don't know, I was just looking more for a fantasy and not so much a horror, but like that's not part of the reason why I gave it such a low rating, is because honestly, I just felt like there was no world building. Like you kind of just get thrown into the middle of it and you have to figure it out as you go, which is not my favorite. I feel like the storyline and the characters had no depth. I don't know, because of that, I really just didn't connect to any characters. I didn't care if a character died or not. It didn't make a difference to me, which is sad because I want to have like a connection with the characters. So much world building and such a big time frame got compressed into a tiny little book, and I feel like this would have been better as a series. I think the reason it was so fast paced and so easy for me to binge read this was because I was confused and I was waiting for that big aha moment where everything just clicks into place and you're like, oh, that's why that happened, or oh, that's what that is. That never happened. When I finished the book, I was even more confused, and honestly, I don't know that I would really recommend this to anyone. And then moving on to the one I read on my Kobo over the weekend, I was able to finish Little Secrets over the weekend. I'm actually not going to tell you much about this one because I went into this one blind, and I'm happy I did. This is a thriller. I loved this book. It was so fast-paced, so easy to read. If I'm being honest, it didn't really get like thrilling until the last 50 or so pages for me, but that doesn't mean it wasn't interesting. Like the first 250 pages, oh my goodness, I was eating this up. I did not want to put this book down. It was just so interesting. It wasn't as eerie as most thrillers I've read before, but it definitely had those plot twists and it definitely keeps you captivated the entire time. So I ended up giving this one a 4.5 stars. I 100% recommend it. Super easy to read, super easy to binge. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this cozy reading vlog. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.